Hey everyone, this is Dr. David Song from the Rehab Hero Clinic. Today we'll be talking about shin splints and how it affects your tibialis anterior. So let's dig deep. Shin splints is an overuse condition of the tibialis anterior muscle. The tibialis anterior muscle is found at the front of your shin and is responsible for ankle dorsiflexion, which is going in the toe up position, and ankle inversion, which is where the ankle goes inwards. It also plays secondary roles in stabilizing the medial longitudinal arch of the foot, which is just found right here. The tibialis anterior muscle can get overused in activities like long distance running. This really typically happens if you are progressing your running too quickly, either in distance, frequency, which is how many times you're doing it per week, or if you are just not giving it enough recovery time in terms of you're running just every day without giving your muscles time to recover from that activity. Shin splints can also occur depending on your occupational demand. People who have to be on their feet all day, who have to walk for long distances for their job, can be affected by this condition as well. Jobs like being a mail deliverer, server, warehouse worker, even teachers who have to stand up on their feet all day can experience this condition. Now, since this condition is an overuse condition, a few things come to mind when it comes to attaining full recovery. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you're trying to minimize the overuse of this muscle. Yes, this might mean you need to modify the way you run. This might mean you modify the way you work as well. The second thing we want to do is increase the strength of this muscle. This way we can actually increase its capacity to handle the loads that you experience and the activities that you love or need to do. If your capacity to handle loads are much higher than the demands that you're putting on it, then guess what? You're probably not going to have any problems. Since this muscle is responsible for ankle dorsiflexion, we'll be using a few tools to help us increase the strength of this muscle. The first thing that we're going to do is strengthen the ankle dorsiflexors by using a device called the TibBar. This is made by the Home Gym guys, and I'll leave a link in the caption below. As far as I'm concerned, they're the only company that makes this type of tool that's for specifically strengthening your tibialis anterior muscle. Strengthening up your tibialis anterior can be done from bodyweight exercises, but I really like to use equipment in order to accelerate the process. All right, so let's get started. So we're going to start with the TibBar. We're going to aim for about 20 repetitions since this muscle tends to be more of an endurance-based muscle versus a strength or power muscle. So I put about 10% of my body weight on here. I'm 175 pounds, so pound for pound, I have 17.5 pounds on here. We're going to put this on both of our feet, so that we'll be strengthening our ankle dorsiflexors bilaterally, which is both legs at the same time. All right, so this is how we're going to put it on. From here, I'm going to strap both my feet into it. And then I'm just going to extend the legs. Okay, so as you could probably see in the camera, you can see my tibialis anterior turning on. We want to start with working a pain-free rep range, and then we go up from there. You'll notice that as you increase your reps, that your shins will start to fatigue. You'll feel a burning sensation right through the front. And you want to work the full range of motion, which means you want to go full ankle plantar flexion and the full ankle dorsiflexion, and this will start to work all of your ankle dorsiflexors, not just the tibialis anterior, just like that. Okay, when you're done, you can just bend your knees and place it back on the bench. Next, we're going to use the IsoTib. The reason why I also like using the IsoTib is because it allows you to work both ankle dorsiflexion and inversion at the same time, which will be more effective at targeting your tibialis anterior muscle. Here we have the IsoTib. We're going to show you how to put the weight on. We start with 10% of our body weight with both legs. We're going to go for 5% of your body weight to use this ankle dorsiflexion device, aka the IsoTib. Once again, I am 175 pounds, so 5% of my body weight is about 8.75 pounds. For something like that, you would want to get fractional weight plates if you have access to it. If not, you could round up or round down depending on how strong you are and how heavy it feels. So here I have 7.5. This is a fractional weight plate to bring me up to 8.75, which is the closest thing I could get to 5% of my weight. And I'm just going to clamp it on so it's nice and sturdy. From here, you can actually toggle to see how tight you actually want to put it, depending on how wide your foot is. And you can just strap it onto your foot before you start. So I actually need to go a little wider. There we go. And we are ready from here. Okay. So just like when we use the TibBar, you want to have your legs straight out in front of you. And from here, we're going to do two combined movements. So first we're going to start at end range plantar flexion. Then we're going to dorsiflex and invert at the same time. And back down, nice and easy, okay? So dorsiflex and invert, and back down. Now, strengthening your tibialis anterior will be helpful in other circumstances outside of shin splints. This will be a good recovery tool to use if you have chronic ankle sprain issues or acute ankle sprain issues. This will also help if you just want to increase your athletic performance in general. All right, and up. And we are once again going to try to aim for 20 repetitions here. Now, as you can see, I'm trying to isolate the movement away from my knee. So some people have a tendency to bend their knee as they ankle dorsiflex, but we really want to keep that knee stable, nice and straight, and raise it up, okay? And up, and back down. So another great exercise that you could do with the IsoTib is that you can actually use the weight of it to stretch out your tibialis anterior. All you got to do is you straighten out your leg and you just pretty much allow the weight to pull your foot into maximal ankle plantar flexion. So right away, I can start feeling my tibialis anterior as well as my other ankle dorsiflexor stretch out. Since the tibialis anterior is also an ankle inverter, you can evert the foot to therefore stretch out the tibialis anterior a little bit more. Normally, I like to hold the stretch for about 20 to 30 seconds, and then you could raise it back up, do a nice contraction, and then you could go back down and stretch it out for another 20 to 30 seconds. I usually like to do around 2 to 3 repetitions to complete a set. You can also just take a rest between repetitions by just raising your leg up and then resting your foot on the bench for about 20 to 30 seconds as well. Now we're going to move on to doing some other home-based exercises that you can do using minimal equipment. The next exercise that we're going to do is a banded ankle dorsiflexion. All you need is something like a strength band. You could tie it to anything that's solid and stable in front of you. Here, since I have a squat rack, I'm going to be using a squat rack, but using like a banister, a heavy table, whatever, a heavy table leg or whatever you have available can be just as helpful. For those who really have limited space, you could buy something like a door anchor off of Amazon. They're about $7 Canadian. And basically you could put it right through your door frame without having to drill anything at all. And it could stabilize it for you at the appropriate height. So from here, we're going to loop the band just around our forefoot. And this is technically on my forefoot, not on my toes. And we're going to do the exact same movement. So once my leg is straight and stable, okay, you gotta always point your toes up to the ceiling. And this is so that the band doesn't just whip off of your foot in front of you. And from here, you're just going to allow your foot to go into ankle dorsiflexion, but keep the toes pointed up and back up. I actually like to hold the end range for about 2 Mississippis. So 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, before I slowly come back down and do my next repetition. Once again, since this muscle is an endurance-based muscle, you can do about 20 repetitions, 15 to 20 repetitions, so that we could increase its ability to do endurance tasks. You can also, just like when we use the IsoTib, do a bit of ankle inversion on top of the ankle dorsiflexion so that we could target the tibialis anterior a little bit more specifically, just like that. And we could do another 20 reps of that. What I would typically do is mix it up. You would want to do 20 repetitions straight up, 20 repetitions going in with ankle inversion, and do them as separate sets. So you don't want to do 40 reps back to back. Typically, I like to give ourselves a minute to a minute and a half of rest between sets. And this is done so that the effects of fatigue don't impact our next set. I really want to make sure that we're hitting that rep range as programmed. So that sums up everything that I want to show you today. We have both the home-based exercises as well as the equipment-based exercises that you can do to level up your tibialis anterior. If you have any questions about any of the equipment that we use, let me know in the comment below. I'll put some links in the caption where you could buy these pieces of equipment. Please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more content just like this. If you have any requests, please leave a comment below and we'll try to get to it as soon as possible. You can also follow us on Instagram at RehabHero as well as TikTok. We have 366 followers as of today on Instagram and 140,000 followers on TikTok. You can find the links in the caption below. I want to thank you again for watching this video and we'll see you next time. Cheers.